Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I hope you had your already first beer, first glass of vodka, and first glass of water. And today we are in a pretty great shape of the number of people that we met together. So thank you for coming. The reason why we met today is that we have a fantastic topic, a legendary topic that we want to cover and basically uncover the bullshit that you are hearing every day. And we'll have fantastic topics. This is our 30-something meetup. I don't even remember which one it is regarding the numbering. And I really want to thank to our main sponsors for today, which is Ataccama and Tricentis. I think you know both of the companies, and it's no surprise that we are at this very time at the venue of Ataccama. And basically we love the cooperation because there's always crowd absolutely full at each and every meetup that we do here. Coming back to the topic, we will be talking about, surprise, surprise, AI. Nevertheless, for now, what we want to make sure is that we won't throw away the hype, which is if you, just today I had a talk with Vitek about how many people are working with Lovable, how many people are playing with that, how many people are building with that, and everybody says, yes, I know it. Yes, I built something around it, but that's just a hype. And we really want to uncover the truth about what are the tools that top AI companies here in Central Europe and overall are using in 2026 and moving forward. What are the tools that they've evaluated? What are the tools that they really use and adopted? And what are the tools they really kicked off away from their scope because they are not worth it, simple. So I think it will be very successful for us. And the one slide that I want to open, and the reason why we are talking about it is that, there are the times when we used to have a team of 8 people together working on some sort of a bigger value and delivering some sort of a piece of the roadmap. I bet in 2026 we'll be talking more and more about having some sort of a micro teams of 3 or 4 people with full of product managers, staff engineers, senior engineers. It will be sort of problematic for junior developers to enter the world and the company. But this is what's await us. And it makes me surprised that sometimes I see people who are, let's see how that goes. It's just a hype. I will survive it. They will requalify me with a couple of workshops. I get that these people are gonna get, sorry to say, but that they will not go into the workshops. So that's the very same reason why we are talking about it today. We have 4 wonderful speakers, Pavel from Ataccama, Rhona from Tricentis, Peter from Kiwi, and Michael from Rohlik. And these are the companies that really know the shit. These are the companies that understand what it means to have the right AI strategy, the evaluation, and how it goes. And again, today we are not covering just some sort of a generic bullshit. Sorry for using this word, but something more specific. Again, what are the tools that we have adopted? What are the tools that we've thrown away? And how it works in reality. By the way, I will kindly ask you to join the Slido, and after each and every speaker, we'll have a couple of minutes time to get the most important answers. You know how Slido works. The more you vote for a specific question, the better. And you increase the chance that your question is going to win. So please make sure that it works for you as well. Giving you 10 seconds. Fantastic. And if you're logged in, we prepared a nice question for you, whether there is some sort of a meaningful value that some AI tool has provided to you and your company so far. So let's see what the reality is if you can answer on this question. Let's wait for half a minute, maybe. Speed. Nice. By the way, if somebody comes to me and says speed is the ultimate answer, I don't like that answer. And I think you know why. But I like more the ideation, efficiency, prototyping, less regular talks. That's a good one. And of course, ideation is the one who might be winning in the end. And again, AI shouldn't be about the speed. Of course, if you talk about time to market, then let's talk about this subject. But if we, I would say, fast travel too fast, that's not that I would want to empathize. Perfect. Assistant, problem solution, more spending. Woohoo! I think we have a winner of this evening. I'm looking forward to meet you in person. And learning, that's something I love. Layoffs, that's a good one. Welcome in 2025-26. By the way, my judgment is that 2026, meaning next year, will be pretty harsh for a couple of people because of this shit. Okay, moving forward. So without further ado and the introduction, I want to give the words to Pavel. So please welcome Pavel on the board. Pavel is the true person who's gonna guide us through how Ataccama is using, the AI of the today's technology. So looking forward to it. Make it 15-minute max, and enjoy it. So thank you. The floor is yours.
Hey, I'm Pavel from Ataccama, and today I will share with you how we approach to AI adoption, and namely how we evaluate AI tools here at Ataccama. But first, I need to find how to translate. Just paste. Okay. I divided my talk into 3 topics that I think that are important for AI adoptions, and let's start with the first one. First one is diversity. Biologically speaking, diversity is a main factor of evolution. But if we apply this diversity to company, diversity is main factor for innovations. And what we are doing to support innovations in Ataccama, it's obvious we are supporting usage of some tools. And so far we try two coding or free coding agents tools, one for code review and one tool for AI note takers from meetings. But I will return to tools later. Tools are just platform. If you wanna support innovations, you need to support ideas, and hackathons are best place for supporting extravagant or even crazy ideas to play with and try new tools, try new approaches, and eventually make them happen in production. So what is AI great? That hackathon was for developers only before AI. This photo is from a business intelligence team, and they are providing their own hackathon without developers. They have somehow supported them, but mainly it was their work, and they bring another new great ideas. In Ataccama, we are playing even with ideas what can happen with AI. This photo is from design workshop, and we were exploring how will UI change in AI space. What AI agents make different in UX UI, and this was particularly great workshop because we found many different aspects I wasn't thinking about. So let's try it at your companies as well. those activities now are not only one. We have since 2023 we have AI board, which helps us to plan what we can do about AI and help us evaluate AI adoptions here at Atacama. And developers on their own creating small groups which are focused on what working for them in AI, and they have regular meetings and so on. And what can happen if you provide your developers with tooling and they have plenty of time during the nights? My colleague created on-call assistant just using open code and plenty, yeah, those are markdowns, plenty markdowns files, and it helps him to have his on-call shift without any problems because he just ask AI and have answer almost instantly. Another part of adopting AI is adaptability. The tools we have now doesn't mean that the tools will be there in half a year or a year. And this is part about tooling. Our tooling evaluation is controlled experiments. We each tool has separate time windows for evaluation, and in the end of the this period, we are collecting feedback from all developers or participants who was using those tools. The most important score we are collecting is employee that promoter score. If you're not familiar with this term, it basically means how likely you will suggest this tool to another colleague or developer. And from those results, it looks like pretty bad for some tools. But so far, we excluded only CodeRabbit, and I will share the details later. We keep all other tools. Judy, basically, even the Judy has those terrible score, but some developers thinks that it's beneficial for them, so we keep Judy in our tool set and continue so on. So, what is issue with CodeRabbit? I personally was pretty excited that we will try a code review tool here in Atacama. And very soon from the start, I was pissed off that this tool is terrible. As you can see, his only one thing was green issue detection quality. But at all other aspects, and from my perspective and from feedback we collected, there are many issues. But I will start what is great about CodeRabbit, not just telling what is wrong. CodeRabbit doing nice summaries of code review. CodeRabbit has sometimes very good suggestions what to change them. On the other hand, CodeRabbit has sometimes very bad suggestions what to do. Even it can lead to broken code. CodeRabbit is terrible noisy in your pull request. Without any change in default settings, your pull request will be long message from CodeRabbit without any further or beneficial value. And what was the most painful issue from my side, CodeRabbit has terrible support. It has mainly AI-driven support. And responses we will maybe reach you. It's 72 hours are not good if you are willing to solve some issue. So far, best evaluated tool was Cursor, and it was visible from since start of this experiment. There was plenty of messages in a dedicated Slack channel for this experiment that developers are really excited about cursors. The same kind of feedback we got from the survey, and I am really excited if the cursor will survive the next battle, and I will later say which one. And the last part of adoption AI in company is determination. Your company needs to be really determined to invest in AI. Your developers needs to be determined to invest in AI in terms of his time or their time to learn, work with it. And I let the loss, but I will return. And one thing you can observe from this presentation is that we are pretty slow with tool adoptions. And determination of Ataccama solved this. Few weeks ago, we changed our policies, and from now, preparing the new experiment with new tools or a new approach will not take weeks or months in worst case scenario, but days. It is a great thing for us. Another thing we are doing to collect feedback from all our employees is this performance review questions. Each quarter we have performance review, and since start of this year we have this question as mandatory in our survey for performance review. And this is one thing that allows us to quickly act for news we are not aware of, but our developers or employees are. So eventually, it's, for example, I was very complain about the speed of experiments, so eventually this feedback is collected as well. Then. And what's next here in Atacama? We are looking for cloud code experiment, and many of my colleagues are really excited about this tool. And I am very excited how it will differ from Cursor. We will have some data for it. Another thing is milestone. If you don't know this tool, this is so far our feedback is based on subjective feeling about the tooling, subjective performance, subjective how we like it. Milestone is tool which will integrate Git, Jira, our surveys, and so on, and applies DORA-like metrics and have real data about AI adoption performance. And this experiment will start, I think, in matter of days in Ataccama. And the biggest invest that is before us, we are using GitLab. And GitLab pretty suck with AI tools. And AI tools are not only thing why we are thinking about migration to GitHub, but you can expect that this migration will be pretty expensive for company size of Ataccama. We have more than 1,000 repositories and so on. But the company is willing to invest in it. We are already running preparation for this phase, and I will be hopefully in a few months happy that we have GitHub instead of GitLab. And thank you for your attention. And special thanks goes to the Jirka Brunsvik behind you, because this is the man here in Ataccama who is driving all those evolution and tool adoptions. So thank you.
So thanks to Pavel. Maybe a couple of questions, hopefully, that we have. Would you mind responding to, let's say, the first two ones, if that's okay with you, Pavel? Share details about your study, stack number of participants, experience, time period, something more in depth.
Maybe I can prepare a short article about it because usually the number of participants varies from 8 to 30. More participants was for coding tools, less participants were for AI noting tool. We have those numbers, so I think we can share it publicly.
Thank you. And have you found any replacement for the Code Rabbit, or you are back to manual code reviews? Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Personally, I am not looking for this replacement. I don't think that AI is good tool for code reviews. The main issue is AI has very small context. And doing good code review means you have know the context of the application, context of the company, and it's impossible for the AI at the moment. It will maybe change soon because there are expectations that there will be models with 20 millions, 50 millions context window, but we are not there.
Perfect. So we made it. Again, a big round of applause for Pavel, because I know how painful it is to make it work. And by the way, we mentioned the problematics of adopting the different toolings, about evaluation of how AI and the tooling as such is using, and helping people in real. So with the Tamira, we are actually making sure that you can measure the outcome as well. There is plenty of tools, by the way, of these categories that might help you to evaluate the right approach. The worst approach is, I would say, not to ask any questions, and then all of a sudden you disable all the Copilot licenses for some reason. Maybe the reason is money, of course. So moving further, so in this case, I want to welcome on the stage Peter. Are you around? Peter is the director of engineering, taking care of the AI at Kiwi.com. I know we should call Peter from now, but we make a small typo, so sorry for that. So the floor is yours, man.
Thank you so much. Alrighty. Hi, everybody. It's quicker. Awesome. So I took this presentation from a bit of a different perspective, and that is because some months back, I think a year and a half ago, we started to see the first push for AI, right? Which was like, we as engineers or as leaders, we should start basically using AI. But half a year ago, there was this really large push, especially, well, in Kiwi. I was leading the push for engineers. And when I did this presentation, I was basically asking myself, what would I tell myself if it was 6 months back when we started with this? What are the lessons that I would take and that I would benefit from? And so these are the things that I want to share with you today. So, oh, you really made a typo there. This is the AI adoption compass. And so the first thing that we learned was that usage is a wild west. And if you use any kind of tools with AI, you either pay the enterprise price, which is like $200 per user per month, or you literally have nothing. And this gets really expensive, especially if there are people in your team that can burn through hundreds of dollars in a single day, and you have no way to stop it. You had no way to limit this. So the best way that we found out was that we need to stick to a primary provider, because we're not going to be paying $1,000 for each developer just for them to have each enterprise tool that there is. And when it comes to API keys, everybody knows they're ungoverned, and then you basically lose all the observability when it comes to things like who actually did the calls that they did. So stick to a single provider. The second one is building autonomous agents, but build them in a way where they have a purpose. And what I mean by this is that I just made a, let's say, a parallel with microservices here, which is with multi-agent systems, you have microservices, but now for each question that you have, which is the same, you will get a different answer. So all of these things will just get far worse and worse as you add more and more agents to your system. And so what we did in the end was we started building very simple, very purposeful agents that are for one and only one thing. So we built a DevOps agent, which is for our infrastructure. We built a talk to your data agent, which is for our business data. And we built product managers and other, which are for all our things that we have in Kiwi. And what we did was we quickly learned that we need to start testing them. And so that's one of the things that you will learn very fast. Once your agents start being bigger and bigger, it's like playing a whack-a-mole. It's like you add a feature, you broke to others. You add a feature, you broke to others. And so it's very, very critical that you start testing as soon as you have your first agent. 3, task manager as a memory. And this is something that I hear all the time now, which is, oh, I need a memory bank for my agent. I need somebody somewhere to store all of these things. And all I can say is that you already have that. You have it in your Jira, you have it in your Confluence, in your Linear. All of these tools now have MCPs. So just use them. Use the tools that you have at your disposal and use labels, use issue connections, use epics, PRDs to connect them together. You don't need any kind of specialized tooling nowadays. You already have everything that you need for a memory bank for an agent. 4, this is something that I hear a lot, which is, oh, now we need 2 documentations. Now we need one documentation for agents or for AI and the second one for people. And this is what I find to be really untrue, because what we see is more and more products now implementing what I think is a wizard for installation, which basically takes prompts which are directly from their user documentation. So what you will get is basically, if you install Posthoc, you will get this wizard. It runs an LLM agent, which literally takes everything from their user documentation and installs it. And if you ever install Posthoc, which is something like Google Analytics, you know how easy it is. So really what it tells us is that you need one documentation and one documentation only. And that is for the users. And if your users or if your engineers can read it and can act on it, then your agents can too. 5, shiny tools kill. And this is something that, we see all the time. People always jump on that one thing, like, you come on Reddit on Monday and it's like the top post. I just left Cursor, it sucks. Then you go to, Cloud Code where it said, we're going to Cloud Code. 2 weeks after, Cloud Code sucks. We're going to Codex. 2 weeks after, Codex sucks. We're going back to Cursor. And so this is still on repeat. And what you're doing is you're just losing your time. And this is because there is so much competition. I think everybody can see how much competition there is on the tools market for AI. And so what happens is it just takes weeks for every single tool to be on par with all the others. Just don't waste your time. Pick 1 or two things that you want. Invest time there. We at Kiwi invested into Cursor and Cloud Code, and these are until this point for 6 months our 2 tools that we primarily suggest to all our engineers and where we build all our agents. 6, agents are tools of statistics, and this is just a reminder for many people that say, hey, there's not going to be no engineering jobs and there's not going to be this and that. I do believe that LLMs are really good at combining things that are already there on the market, but they really suck at combining things that are innovative. And so I just added here Kubernetes. Hopefully everybody knows Kubernetes. And so Kubernetes, for example, has 4K contributors at its core. And so if you start developing Kubernetes with AI, chances are it will just suck. You will not get any kind of boost from working on Kubernetes core itself. However, Kubernetes also have 5.5 million users. So there's probably a lot of examples, a lot of tutorials and everything on the market for you to consume, and so for the LLMs to consume. So while working on the core is not an easy task for AI, using Kubernetes will be incredibly easy. And we see it everywhere on our agents. And so what I did here as a lesson is that 90% of any kind of product code that we have, it's not a rocket science. It's API endpoints, it's tests, it's all those things that are kind of scaffolding our code. And then there's this 10% where we actually need to put our minds there and be like, now I need to innovate, now I need to do something. And this is where we should invest our time. 7, this is more people-centric. People fear replacement. I guess everybody could feel it in the past couple of months. And what I can say here is that it's an organization change as any other. It will take 6 months, and everybody will need to start. And I would just tell myself here, really, just don't hesitate. Just, go for it, push it as much as possible so that everybody knows that AI is here and that we need to start using it. 8, pressure dictates perception. And this is something that we've learned along the time, which is that teams that have real large backlogs, they see agents as a helping hand. They see something like, okay, so if I have 6 months of my working backlog, now I will probably have just 2, but it's okay because we can then innovate, we can then add more and more. While those under less pressure often see agents as a threat. And this is a lesson that I take from the adoption. Outsourcers and learners, and here I would say there are 2 types of people. Please fix, doesn't work, go fix it again. Or those that use actually AI to be like, hey, tell me how you understand this problem, and then work with you to activate your own brain to actually do something with the AI. And so you can really use AI here to guide you through the things that it actually knows without you going there and just being like, it doesn't work because I told it 5 times to fix things. I didn't. So what I have here is, once you see these, just convert these people. Tell them, show them how they can use AI better and how they can actually have AI as a copilot, not as just an outsourcing engine where they say, please fix this. And this is kind of the vision that I have personally for AI, which is that in the future, we will pay for the brain and not for the keyboard. And so for the last couple of years, I've heard many teams saying, hey, we know we have 6 months of backlogged items. And if you ask them, what do we need? Well, we need time. We need somebody to actually push the buttons on the keyboard to actually deliver the things that are in the backlog. And I believe this is not going to be the case in the future. I do believe that we're going to be aiming for having more and more inputs that are business critical on how to actually design, how to architect our systems. And once we have them, AI is there to actually do the work or do a lot of those scaffolding. And these are some stats for QB agents. So we currently have around 270 code review comments. I didn't add the time, it's every day. We do thumbs up, thumbs down. So 70% of the comments that the AI does is thumbs up. So it's a good comment. We have 120 DevOps platform contributions per week. 90% of those are purged. And we have 200 business questions answered per month. 85% also thumbs up, 15% thumbs down. So these are the stats. For all of these things, we used Cursor to build them, and then we use Claude Code to run them. That's it from me. Thank you so much, guys. What are examples of tangible values your company experienced after adoption of coding assistants? I think I just shared it on the last slide. Does it answer the question? Like, these are literally the things that save us time.
Okay. So good. You value your number of pull requests, review pages.
I think it all translates into time.
So, if you might share
It's how much we save time on all of these things. It's lower tens of FTEs at this point. Lower tens of full-time equivalents. So lower tens of employees, basically. That doesn't mean we fired anybody for this. We didn't. All right, the next one. How can you prevent people from over-relying on AI and using it to do their thinking instead of them? This is a hard one. I would say really just guiding them through it. We do experience sharing sessions. We do share a lot of the things that work and doesn't work for us within the company. We do have our own, what we call Guild AI, which is basically a Slack channel where people share their successes and what works for them, what doesn't work for them. So I would say there is no way really to force people to not rely on AI that much, but you can definitely guide them to use AI better. The last one. Do you let AI deploy to production via MCP without the classic DevOps pipeline? I would love to say yes, but no. No, we don't. What happens is the DevOps agents that we have, you can work with them on Slack. And so what happens is, even if we have support channels where people ask questions and they work basically with the agent for the answer first, and they can escalate to operators, to us as platform team, even then, the last thing that we do is we push the button. So we are the ones reviewing all the changes that were done. Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Speaker in front of us, which is Michal. Michal, are you somewhere in here? Perfect. Welcome, Michal, on the stage. Michal is the technical domain lead at Rohlik. Woo! So, no need to talk about bullshit, so the stage is yours again. And enjoy.
Thank you. Can I get here? Yeah, thanks. All right, so we are supposed to present a case study. So let's start with some theory. Does it work this way? This way? No. Yeah, it turns out there is not much on the market when you remove the marketing materials that will tell you how effective you are actually getting by using AI tools. This is the stuff that we discussed when we were in the Silicon Valley with the team, and that was quite recently published. So if I can recommend something, it's definitely this. They're actually not looking only on the questionnaires. They are doing some evaluation based on the engineering metrics. It will be shared, but the main outcome that I want to represent is basically that we are not really looking at in Rohlik for the 10x gain in coding. We are looking for finding the X% of gain in every step of the software delivery lifecycle. It's not only about agentic coding, it's also about L2 support, investigation, it's also code reviews, it's also product management. We can use these AI tools, and it's just another tool in our tool stack. It doesn't have to be perfect now, but we have to consider it. So now we are going to share our Rohlik experience. I will quickly share our tech stack. This is what we are actively using. It's probably going to be outdated in a few weeks, since we are getting to, let's say, end of our evaluation period that we like is not really defined in some standard way, but our way of thinking is that you need to commit to the tooling for some amount of time. You typically choose something that is pragmatic decision, and we also want to cover at least one tool for every part of the SDLC. In a few months, we are probably going to do some re-evaluation. When I go back, the main tools that we are currently using and basically every developer has access to are also QA and PM, and whoever wants to is Cloud Code and Cursor, so the same stack as Kiwi. But we are also connecting all of these tools to our internal MCPs. So if you want to find information about the database schema that your application is using, you are covered. If you want to ask questions about some analytical data in our Snowflake, you can use it. You can use our data sensei that we built internally, or you can use Snowflake MCP. If you want to do some automatic translations, you can use the localized MCP. Also, for example, when I'm lazy to create some tickets in Linear, let's say I have 18 applications, so I need to update some library in them, I can ask Cloud Code to create the tickets for me. It works great. So, as I said, we want to have at least one tool for every part of the SDLC, and we are doing we are trying to commit for some period of time because it doesn't make sense to jump for the next shiny stuff. We have tried this at the beginning. We couldn't decide. We were doing this documentation of the tooling and some summaries of how we evaluated the results. And in the next month, when we finally got to the last tool, we've actually found out that we are already updated and there is something else. So choose something. And also, when you're doing the evaluation, it can look like it's going to cost a lot, but unless you're not using, like, if you are not using the best models out there, you're not really finding out like what is the model capable of. And let's say that I started code review with Llama 3 or something like that. I'm definitely going to just discard it from like out of the box. But if I use the most expensive model, I can be pretty sure that in the next 3 months or 6 months, it's going to be cheap and I can use it. So that's definitely one of the outcomes that I want to see from the evaluation. One of the tricks or tips, we host all our models behind the Light LLM gateway. So it's not our models. We are just having models like Claude Sonnet running on Vertex AI in GCP. And to track the costs, we are using the gateway to make sure that we can see which users are spending the most tokens, which applications, and stuff like that. So, what is our strategy in Rohlik? I was already talking about the fact that we are trying to cover the whole SDLC, but adoption of AI tools is also connected with actually changing the way how we work. And this is one of the recent messages from our founder Tomáš Čupra on LinkedIn, who basically said that, and that's actually true. He wrote to our Slack that we are transitioning to most of the developers to full stack, and we have a education program how to do the transition, some evaluation period, and if they succeed, there is going to be some pay raise. So, what is actually what is actually the reality, and what is the cost benefit? Do we think that everyone should be doing full stack and we should not have any specialization? Or is it more like we want to have end-to-end delivery and we still need specialties in our company, but we want to minimize the communication overhead, and we want to make sure that there are no delays. And when you think about it, like what you're developing, it was already said today, it's typically not rocket science. And a lot of tasks can be handled much faster if you own them from end to end, and you touch the front-end code base, you touch the Android application, you touch the DevOps lifecycle, whatever. The ownership is clear, so you are the one responsible. You typically pay more attention. There is nothing like, okay, but I'm now waiting for front-end. On the next stand-up, you find out that the front-end guy was not aware of it, so he starts in the afternoon, and it prolongs like that a lot. So we are building full stack engineers, but there is already a keyword for that. We are doing product engineering. We are cooperating closely with the product managers. We are asking QA to help us debug issues. QA is actually using Devin to investigate. They are doing the trial for all the issues that come into our backlog, and somehow cooperating with the developers. And it's not only about being able to use the tools, it's also about understanding what you are actually building, why you're building it, and being able to unblock yourself. And with product engineering approach, we are able to have the ownership, which then means that people are actually trying to deliver stuff to production, and sometimes it means that you have to touch all the whole stack. So how did we approach the adoption? It is, of course, like anytime you want to change tools for your senior developers, they are probably going to not like it because they are efficient in their workflows. Typically, they are delivering a lot of tasks. They are in a high-pressure environment. And when you tell them that they have to use something like Cursor, which is a VS Code, and you are a Java developer, you are not going to like it. So it needs time, as it's another tool, and it needs some open-mindedness. One of the first things that I would suggest is to make the setup as seamless as possible. So what happens in Rohlik is that when you're onboarding, you are going to get created a GCP account, and immediately you can access Claude Code. So it's out of the box. We are tracking the overusage, and we are communicating this, but it's like the default is you get the access, you try it, and we actually are trying to force the people to create the first few PRs with at least some usage of the agentic tools. And as I mentioned at the beginning, one of the tips that I would suggest is like documenting the usage of the tools themselves. Typically doesn't make much sense because it's going to get updated very soon. So document the stuff that's specific for your company. Document how you can connect to the MCPs for your company, how you can how you can get the API tokens, and just like if I want to use Cursor, if I want to use Code, I just ask ChatGPT to tell me how to do it. So the second part of the truth, how we achieved the adoption, is that it was actually a top-down approach. Of course, the developers didn't like it at first. Of course, they said that it's not going to work. Not all of them. We had some champions that were basically trying to convince other people and that were helping with the delivery of the tasks. And typically, after identifying which tasks make sense to deliver with AI, and once the developers had the experience, they found out that it can make sense. And we also had the situations where the first iteration of the adoption was not working. The project was too complex. The task was not great. So we left it for a few months, and then we asked the developers to use it again. And turns out we have basically a perfect adoption in the development. Not yet 100%, but we are at like 80-90%. At least one tool is used. Juni, Cloud Code, Cursor, or the background agent Devin, and it's now the standard. It's nothing like special. It's not in the evaluation phase. It is part of the development. So the top-down approach means that the engineering managers are responsible for sharing. For helping with the learning and for identifying the tasks that are like the great candidates for the adoption. And we are actually tracking some usage metrics. I cannot share the metrics yet because the engineering performance metrics are like in general. I don't think that we can present the numbers, but we could at least present the improvements. But we have went over a lot of organizational changes, so the numbers would not be representative. But if you want to know what we are tracking, the main things are the usage of the tools, issue cycle time at the individual level, because when you're, as the research suggests, that was presented at the beginning, if you are creating small issues, as everybody would probably expect, you are typically able to do less context switching, delivering higher quality with higher speed. We are tracking delivered issues at individual level, and we started tracking standard DORA metrics. Okay, and now we are getting to the use cases. So how does it look when you are developing in Rohlik? And we are starting with product management. So when you are a product manager, we are using Linear, and you need to define somehow what you are actually doing. So you can use ChatPRD to help you with the issue definition. Of course, you could prompt your ChatGPT. You can create the same thing with Cloud Code. If you are a one-person team, it's probably a good option. If you have like 20 product managers, this is seamless. It's integrated. It just works nicely. So for the price, a very good cooperation. Then, of course, you come to some old application, or a newcomer comes to the code base, and you just have no idea why the code was there. Why do we prefer Wars vehicle first? Does it make any sense? So I had some discussion with my colleague, and he was right. But I also asked Devin to find out, and turns out Devin was also right. And he basically replaced my colleague, and I had two evaluations if the situation is if the result is correct. So better than one. This is an example from our discussion with a product manager. We had a table, and they wanted a summary. So we had some discussion, like, what would you imagine that how should it look like? So I asked Devin to take a look at it. Can he implement it? Then I had to ask him again. He did not respond in time. But turns out this is actually the output. I send it to our front-end guys for a code review, because even though I'm saying that we are doing full stack development, we still want to have the specialization to keep some quality. So when you're doing a code review, you send it when you are creating the merge request, you send it to somebody who has more experience in front-end to keep the standard. But you allow front-end guys to create backend pull requests and the other way around. So this is actually in production. It's somewhere in the admin page. The code looks okay. It works. Perfect. Another example with Figma MCP, we've got some design. We can generate some baseline for in code. And it may not be perfect if you are creating pixel perfect images for your landing page. But if you are creating, let's say, admin pages, good enough. Another thing that we have, standard code reviews that we already talked about. We don't have such a high acceptance rates as in Kiwi, but it still helps from time to time. And it's actually kinda cheap when compared to running, paying for CodeRabbit. So we are using PR Agent, the open source tool from Clodo, running with our models. It was presented on our tech stack, and this is one of the examples where it helped me to add HTTP response validation before I send it to the second code review. And now the extreme use case. So sometimes in the company, it happens that the business priorities come first, and instead of creating a nice code, you just have to deliver something and to resolve a business problem. So in the past, it would probably turn out that we just don't do it. We wait because we don't want to create terrible legacy in our code base, or that I don't know. It just takes too much effort. But we actually made this in a week's time. We used Lovable for prototyping. We used one front-end engineer. We connected it via proxy to our standard backend services. Also, we did not destroy the database schema or anything. This application is actually used by our external companies in Germany. The application is connected via proxy to our backend services, and in a week time, they were able to log in. They are able to see the performance of their drivers, and it's something that in the past we would not develop at all if we would wait for a half a year until we get time to develop a new courier hub. And we now solve the company problem. The development is freezed basically on this application, so you need to pay attention so that it doesn't turn into a nightmare. I would not want to support this long term, but it was a solution. Okay, thank you.
Maybe we have a couple of other questions additional for you, Mikhail. So let's see whether there is something to answer. Any motivational factors that work for you in addition to lead time cycle time reduction? What do you say?
I think that you need to choose the correct tasks so that the engineers are not going to burn themselves on. So if and especially the full stack transition is a good example, because the people are suddenly productive, and when you choose something that is partly in their experience and partly outside of it, and it can be done, they find out that they can be the full stack engineers, that they don't have to know, let's say, CSS on a perfect level to deliver something for the admin part, and that it is not such a burden anymore like it used to be when you had to search through the React documentation how to write a component, something like that. When they have the successes, it works. Yeah, product engineer needs platform engineering teams. How do you solve that? Yeah, we do have platform teams. That's right. Do we have platform teams at least for enablement? Yes, we do. Not particularly for front-end and for back-end. We still hire back-end engineers and front-end engineers, and then we make them full stack. But the platform is there mainly to support the let's say that I don't need every engineer to know how to configure OpenTelemetry. I've got platform for that. I don't need to care about how to deploy my application. It is a seamless process. So, yeah.
Perfect. So big round of applause again for Mikhail. Woo! And by the way, to tackle on the subject of how to turn product managers and engineering managers into something like a full stack beast, we do have a solution. Just let us know. There are a couple of basically programs that we turn as part of our community and everything that we do. If interested, let me know. Now moving to the very end. As you know, we are running each and every meetup on a monthly basis. So the next one is going to be product board. And this time we'll make sure that we cover the topic of boosting your value on the market, which might be pretty relevant. We won't be talking about AI so much, I promise. But nevertheless, if you think that, being just a senior Java developer is enough, I don't think you will get surprised in a couple of years. And the QR code is over here. So we'll wait for here. And basically, if you have more questions and want to join our meetups, feel free to scan it. And more people coming to our meetups, the better for us, of course. So as you can see, we are coming to an end of our wonderful evening. And regarding the topics, once again, if we have Pavel here from Ataccama, so please, if you can come on stage once again for just a second. So once again, big round of applause for Pavel. I think Pavel, from what I understood, you get really great points at basically making sure that we enable the experimentation and gathering the feedback of that. Moving to Peter, if you are somewhere over here. Basically, with Peter, we had a pretty nice talk. Peter is coming, so again, applause for this guy. Basically, the Peter's message was just to make sure that you can cover the whole development life cycle. And the most important thing is that there is some sort of rough estimate, and that's the message, that you can sort of speed up the development process by a couple of dozens of %. And that's not a bullshit. That's where we are today in 2025. Moving to you, Rhona, please, if you can come on stage with us. So Rhona was talking quite a lot about making sure that the more you fine-tune your opportunities about different LLM models, the better you can generate all the different test cases. And basically the demonstration of the viability of the new test cases is really what counts, and you can generate the true value out of it. And the last, of course, is we have Michal here. So and what really made me intrigued about Michal is that Michal was talking about guys, wake up. There is nothing like a senior Java developer, .NET developer, whatever developer. We are basically product teams, product engineers that are supposed to deliver value. And I don't really care whatever of your love language it is, including Lovable. The most important thing is that you generate value in the end of the day throughout the AI, your usage and the toolings, whatever that is. So thank you to our crew that are speakers. So once again, big round of applause for them. Same goes to, of course, Ataccama, and thank you for welcoming us to Julia, and basically to all the folks that were more than welcomed. And I have a small llama with me. To get you surprised, I found this one somewhere on the market. So just to make it sure that we are supporting each other. So this goes to Ataccama once again.